Hey, what's up, guys? This is Bryce, and I work over at Fuse Junior High over at the Henderson campus. And today I'm going to talk with you guys about Chapter 6 in Judd's book Pursued. The title of the chapter is The Price of Prostitution. And it's a really cool chapter about basically what happens when we mess up. In this chapter, we continue our dysfunctional journey with Hosea and his prostitute wife, Gomer. And I just hope you guys are learning a whole bunch in this whole Pursued journey. I hope that you're showing up to the weekend services, that you're plugged into a Fuse group, and you're just learning about this awesome God that loves us and pursues us, even though we're messed up people and we do messed up things. So in this chapter, Hosea basically has married this prostitute wife. He's trying to love her as a wife, and she basically bails on him. The married life isn't really for her, so she returns to the old life that she had. She becomes a prostitute again, and Hosea has to go back and rescue her from prostitution. And he can't just take her, he can't just whisk her away in the night. He has to pay for her release. And so this whole chapter, The Price of Prostitution, is about the price of the stuff that we do. In the book, Hosea has to pay for his wife. He has to basically bust down the door, go to her pimp's house and say, hey, I want Gomer, I want my wife back. And so there is a price associated with that, but also when we mess up, when we do mess up things, there's also a price on us. In the book, Judd says that this price for a lot of people is guilt and shame. And guilt is basically when we feel bad for the things that we do. We do mess up things. Maybe it's lying, maybe it's talking back to your parents, maybe it's cheating on a test, and you feel bad for what you did later. And then there's also this thing called shame. It's not just feeling bad about the stuff that you do, but it's also feeling bad about the person who you are. So it's not so much what I do is messed up, it's I'm messed up. I'm a messed up person. And so a lot of people, they hold on to this shame and then they don't let God forgive them. And I can definitely relate to this whole shame thing. Growing up, I was a lot different from all the kids on my block. I was homeschooled, I was a Christian, I was even a different skin color from a lot of kids on my street. And so I didn't have many friends growing up. And after a while, I kind of felt like I'm different, maybe I'm not the greatest person. So after a while, it changed from me thinking, okay, I'm not good enough to be anybody's friend. It changed to this thing where I thought, okay, I'm not good enough for God to love me. I'm a mess up, I'm a screw up. God can never love someone like me. And so I kind of held on to this shame thing, and it really made it hard for me to trust God, to love God. And in this book, Judd talks about how people hold on to this shame and then they think to themselves, God loves people, he died for that person, he died for this person, he loves my mom, he loves my brother, like they're good enough people, but God can't love me because I'm too far gone, I'm too messed up for God to love. And what Judd says is that type of reasoning is actually kind of like reverse pride. You're saying that God sending his son Jesus to pay for the price of our mess ups isn't good enough for you. That what Jesus did on the cross doesn't cover you because what you did is so much worse than what everyone else did. And it's kind of like this reverse pride. And so in the book, it tells us that shame, if we hold on to it, if we don't let God forgive us because we're so shameful, that this shame can actually change who we are. It can actually weigh on us and make life a lot harder. I remember back in my life, when I was in high school, I helped out with this charity event. And at the event, I don't know why, but they were giving out bananas. And at the end of the day, they had these 2 huge boxes of bananas, and I love bananas. And they basically said, hey, Bryce, do you want the bananas? And I was like, yeah, I want the bananas. Like, it was an awesome thing. And so I took the bananas. But what I didn't realize is each box was 25 pounds of bananas. So, and I didn't have a car back then, so I had to actually meet up with my parents to get a ride home. So I'm like, this is great. I just got 50 pounds of bananas. I'm going to take it home. I'm going to have a banana shake with a banana split, with banana toast. And so I was super excited, and I started carrying the bananas on my shoulder just like this. And to get from the place where the event was to get to where my parents were, I had to walk across this desert lot carrying these 50 pounds of bananas. And at the beginning, I'm like, I got this, like, I don't need anyone, I'm going to carry these bananas, I'm going to be strong, and I'm going to get home and have a banana party. And as I was walking through the desert lot, it looked super short at the beginning, but as I'm walking through it, I realized this desert lot is like probably a mile and a half long. And so I'm struggling with these bananas. I probably walked maybe a few hundred feet, and I realized, wow, these bananas weigh a lot. But I didn't need anyone. I didn't want to ask anyone for help. I didn't want to like call my parents and be like, hey, can you drive through a desert lot and pick me up? So I just kept holding on to these bananas. And probably about 20, 30, 40 minutes later, I'm finally getting to the place where my parents are with these bananas, and I hate these bananas. I don't want them anymore. I kind of just want to throw them in the desert lot and set them on fire and burn them. They weren't worth it to me anymore. Something that I thought I had on my own, something that I thought I could do by myself, after a while, it just weighed on me, and it kind of changed who I was. At the beginning of the journey, I was super happy, I was super thankful. At the end, I was just ready to punch someone. And shame is kind of the same way. We hold on to these things that we do. Maybe it's an addiction that you have, or maybe it's something that you struggle with, like lying, gossiping, cheating. And you kind of just tell God, you know what, God, I got this. Or maybe you don't tell your parents, you don't tell your friends because you're ashamed of it and you think that you have it all on your own. But after a while, it can weigh on you. It can change the person who you are. So what I want to do today is just challenge you. If you're at home and you're ashamed of something that you do, or you're ashamed of something that you've done in the past, stop holding on to it. Give it to God. Kind of just like Hosea went, and he went to Gomer and he released her. God came to release us from our master. Gomer's master was a pimp. Our master, it says in the Bible, is sin. God came to the earth to release us from our sin so that we can walk in freedom, so that we can walk with our head held high with confidence in God. If you feel like you're holding on to the weight of the world, if you feel like you're holding on to all this weight, all this shame in your life, let it go and give it to God. It must have been really tough for Gomer to let go of her shame and accept Hosea's love. When he busted down that door and went to her captors, she probably didn't want him to be there. She probably felt ashamed. What I'm asking you today is to let go of your shame and let God in. So I hope that you guys keep going to the weekend services, keep going to Fuse groups, and keep checking these vlogs out as we journey together and find out this plan that God has for us and this love that He has for us. Hope you guys have a great weekend.